When I moved in here, I found this box of cutlery. And looking through it, I thought, there's something I can do with this for sure. And what better subject for tabletop photography than cutlery? So I went rooting around it to find the most interesting parts. Now I'm trying to keep the setup really simple. I fail in most cases. I've got one light, using a reflector, or if I turn it around there's a flag there, and cable release playing up a little bit at the minute. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And my kind of poor man's salon stand here with this Mambly boom arm arrangement on a tripod. So the light I'm using is the K&F Concept PL60B. It says here, photography fill light. I think it's a little bit more than that. It's a 60-watt light. It's been very kindly sent to me by Ken Faith. I've also got the Octobox softbox on there as well, which also comes with a grid and kind of collapses down to not very much. So first outing for them really. Let's see how they perform. I'm also going to be using a variety of lens. My 60mm macro, possibly the 30mm macro, and on the camera at the minute I've got the 35mm tilt lens from TT Artisans. Now you might ask why I'm using a tilt lens. I mean, surely I want things sharp. Well, yeah, that's why I'm using the tilt lens. You see, a lot of people on YouTube who get one of these lenses don't really understand what it's capable of. They think it's only for the miniature effect or for kind of really kind of getting a thin sliver of focus, and that's not it at all. Or rather, it will do those things, but it's capable of so much more. You see, a standard lens has got a parallel focus plane. My hand is roughly parallel to the lens that you're looking through now, and as such, the whole thing is likely to be in focus. But if I start tilting, you might expect that only this part, which is roughly in line with my face, it's going to be in focus, and the focus might fall off further back there. I mean, in reality, it's probably not doing that because there's probably a deeper image depth of field on this video. But we do know that things that kind of go off in the distance, particularly the closer they get to a lens, the shallower the depth of field gets. You should know that. We must know that. The tilt lens allows me to adjust that plane of focus. So instead of having a kind of parallel plane of focus, what we can do is we can kind of open up a plane of focus that kind of goes through an image at a kind of angle. It's really technical. I'm not going to get into it because I'm really bad at explaining the technical sides of things. But let's just get to the point. What we can do with it is take an image of something that's kind of disappearing off as an angle and try to keep it as sharp as possible without having to focus stack. And that's what I'm doing with the scissors on the desk behind me. Now, focusing using a tilt lens to maximise the depth of field, I'm not going to pretend for 1 second is easy. It just isn't. It's an iterative process, and of course, like anything, you'll get to learn it, but it will take time and it will probably frustrate the hell out of you. It's frustrated the hell out of me. The method of focusing requires a lot of toing and froing with the lens. There's no two ways about it. I suppose when you get proficient at it, you'll probably understand it a whole lot more. But for a beginner, this is going to be a nuisance. First up, I'm going to zoom in. I'm also going to turn on focus peaking. And I've got it in red here. Now, you can see I'm looking at the bottom edge of the scissors. Now, the reason I'm doing that primarily is because it's the closest part, and that's where we start our focusing. We're at about, 45-degree angle or so, and I'm, 18 inches or so away from it, something like that. So I've got a focus that's pretty good on the handle of the scissors. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my zoom point up to the top up here, and you can see that the focus peaking has kind of disappeared, and that's definitely soft at this end down here. We're going to try and deal with that by loosening the tilt and tilting down a little. Now you see that by doing that, I'm actually pointing at a different part of the scissors again. So what I now have to do is adjust the camera angle to come up here. And what you may be able to see is that actually, yes, we've got some focus peaking going on up the top here now. Now, that's not so bad, but if I turn the zoom off here, you see we're well out of position in terms of the scissors in the centre of the subject. So I'm just going to move my boom in a little bit, tighten up again, possibly come too far there. That's a bit better, that's a bit more central, isn't it? There we go, and we'll zoom back in and see what we've got there. That is actually not too bad, but let's see whether we can just improve that a little bit more by just adjusting that tilt even further. Can we? Possibly. And we'll just adjust up again a little bit. Now I'll tell you something, happiness is knowing that when you adjust one of these knobs, that you're turning the damn thing the wrong way. It's only twice today that I've managed to turn them the right way. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. So that's quite sharp at the back there. Sharp, get it, scissors? That's quite acceptable, I think. But now we need to come back down and we need to check whether we're sharp down here again. And you see there's no focus peaking going on down here, or little to no focus peaking, a little bit going on over here, but not very much. So now we will adjust that focus again ever so slightly. We've got a little bit more going on there now, and then again we move to the top and see what we've got going on there. Still seems quite good. It's not as sharp as it was, but it's not too bad. The aperture, oh, we're stopped right the way down at f16, I think. Yeah, pretty much. So you see, even with the tilt lens, this is not perfect. But what we can do here is, oh, actually, I've already done it from playing about with it earlier, I think. Just make certain. Yeah, I'm not just tilted, I'm twisted around as well. So my plane of focus is beginning to actually go up through the image, through the scissors. I'd say that's not bad. Let's see whether we can... I said this isn't playing up a bit, wasn't it? There we go. 2-second timer on it, and with the cable release, what does that look like? That's not perfectly sharp though. It doesn't appear to be perfectly sharp. That's not bad there. It's not crystal clear, is it? We could just try again slightly. What if we just tilt up a little bit more? Just adjust a little bit more here. What does that look like? We zoom into that spot there. Oh, I'd say that's possibly a bit better. There we go. That's using a tilt. What's that you say? Focus stack it. Oh yes, of course, focus stack it. Well, because I've got a camera focus stack, that would be a relatively easy way out of it. But not everyone has that. Not everybody wants to do that. And I've got to be honest as well, if you're doing focus stacking manually, yeah, this kind of rig here on really bouncy carpet, oh geez, that's a recipe for real frustration and disaster. God knows how many frames you might have to take to get that without any ghosting or anything. It could be a bloody nightmare. What's that you're yelling now? Just stop the lens down. Well, that's at f16 already. I can get to f22 on my 12 to 40. Do you think that's going to work? Let's give it a try. Now on the back of the camera, that just does not look as sharp. And you've also got to remember, that's f22 to get it like that. Already we're likely to be getting diffraction in there. The sweet spot on the lens is nowhere near f22. Even using the hyperfocal focus point, try saying that if you're drunk. at f22. It's not entirely sharp. Now this is better than I thought it might be, but it's soft overall and we are losing sharpness around the rivet point on the scissors. This is the same shot taken with the tilt lens. Overall the tilt version is a little bit sharper. Don't forget they're both at 35mm, one's at f22, one's at f16. If I had the 50mm tilt lens I could probably do a slightly better job. For my next subject I've chosen a couple of very tarnished spoons that I found in that box. Before we talk about the spoons any further, let's talk about this light. Now it's very reminiscent of a Hasselblad 500 series camera. I'm certain that that isn't a coincidence. It's a good looking thing is basically what I'm trying to say. 60 watts, great little cob LED. It's also got an app control, hasn't everything these days, but actually I can't demonstrate that because whilst I did download it, the first thing it wanted to do was know my location. I don't know why it needs to know a location to control the light that is just there. And through privacy concerns, I just deleted it. There's just too much going on with apps these days. I don't need an app to work the damn thing, so I got rid of it. So I'm not going to talk about the app. If you want to download it, great, it's there. It's got Bluetooth control. Why does it need any more? The light itself has got a battery built into it, which has got a runtime of about 40 minutes full power. I think that's pretty good going. However, and this is a really big but, as with electric vehicles we have something called range anxiety. I suffer exactly the same problem with lights that have got a built-in battery, because sometimes the batteries go from kind of pretty good to nothing in no time at all. And I'm not saying it does, it hasn't, but up here there's that concern. It happens with all lights for me. It doesn't happen with cameras because I carry spare batteries, but the lights don't have spare batteries. They do have the ability to run off of an additional battery pack if you want to do that, and it can charge from that and it can run from that as well. But it's also got complete power delivery and high power delivery through a separate cable, which I'm currently running off of a GAN charger on my desk over the back there. Now you see there's a softbox on it. That's a separate option. There's also a grid that comes with that, and that folds down really nicely. It sets up in no time whatsoever. It's a nice little product. The light itself comes with this little metal reflector which is dimpled on the inside, so that's going to produce some specular highlights if you wanted. It also has got this kind of infrachrome diffuser that attaches to the front of the deflector. I'm not going to put it on because it's a little bit weird. Yeah, nice squidgy silicone on that. Works really quite well and produces a nice kind of big kind of glow light. It's quite diffuse, rather nice. I have no negatives particularly about the light in itself. It's a little plasticky. I suspect you would kind of expect that at the kind of price point that this is at, which I'll put on screen because I can't remember what it is. It's also got a handle which is detachable, which means that you can kind of wave it around and work with it handheld, rather than in a situation I've got it here fixed to a light stand. It's a really, really flexible thing. And it also comes in a really handy carry case, so if you're going to go and use it on site somewhere or out in the woods, wherever you happen to be, charge it up, take it out, you've got a really, really good light source to go with you. Back to our spoons. You can see I've placed them at an angle through here, and again I'm using the tilt lens, and I've got the lens twisted to about 60 degrees, and I'm tilting the plane of focus to go right the way through it. It's about f8 on there. It's a clickless aperture on here, so you can kind of go between apertures, and I have a really subdued image. Now, I do have a deficiency in this image, which is the fact that I can see the background edge there, and I'm not too concerned by that because the light kind of falls off going back. So all I'm going to do in post-production is perhaps crop that a little bit, and I'm just going to darken the background there so you simply don't see that edge. And I just really like the patina on these spoons. It's just so much more interesting than an absolutely clean and polished stainless steel spoon. In actual fact, I think these might be they're probably silver plate or something going back, and they've just been worn away over the years, and that's what really gives them the charm. The mount on the light is what they're calling a mini Bowen's mount. That's a bit of a misnomer because such a thing really doesn't exist. I think they're probably really talking about the fact that it's a miniature version of a Bowen's mount, but there's no standard to that. The compatibility with this is from a nan light, I think. Now you might also wonder what backgrounds I'm using here. These are just printed vinyls that I've got from, I can't remember now, try somewhere like Vinyl Warehouse and such. I'll get some links down below, and they are just straight on to some very thin MDF, the kind of MDF that you would get in the back of a frame or something. I'm an untidy worker, crap everywhere, but we're getting somewhere. I've decided to work with a number of spoons kind of regressing backwards. I'm now not too concerned about sharpness going back. I want to regress. I'm regressing in terms of sharpness, I'm regressing in terms of light. And in order to do that, I've positioned the light, as you can see, right over the top here. God, I wish I had a decent C-stand, or any C-stand with a boom arm. It would make this so much simpler, but I've now rigged this up using a couple of light stands and background supports with a centre pole, with a cheap kind of super clamp there. I do have better ones, I just haven't located them after moving from next door yet. And everything's kind of jerry-rigged, but that's the way in which a lot of photography and filmmaking happens. Yeah, you don't see the stuff behind the scenes, it's incredibly messy, but what we can achieve with it is pretty magical. I think it's going to be better without that. It takes a little shine off that front there. I'm going to continue taking some images of things that I find around the place. I hope that it gives you some inspiration to go and try things yourself. If you're interested in the lamp there's a link down in this description, very likely also with an offer code. Again, also if you're interested in the tilt lens, again, link down in the description. If you're not interested in any of those things, perhaps you'd be interested in buying me a coffee. Whatever, I'm going to take some more images and I'll show you some of those. I hope they give you some inspiration and some ideas for shooting in your own home environment. This image was shot with a very inexpensive 10mm lens from TT Artisans. Check out my full video on it here. If you want some other ideas for taking images at home, check out these videos over here. And they're taken in a much, much smaller space than this.